I'll never forget the sound that woke me that night. September 1974, 3 in the morning, a howl outside my window, not animal, not quite human, but full of anguish that any parent would recognize, desperation, grief. I was 12 years old, living in a shack on the edge of the Cascade Mountains with my grandma. We were the only black family within 50 miles, and we were dirt poor. But I'd been meeting with the big man, that's what I called him, for 3 years. Every week he'd come to the edge of our property, bring us deer meat, teach me things about the forest. He was my friend, my secret. And that night, he was begging for help. When I opened the door, he was holding something wrapped in leaves and moss. His baby, barely moving, burning with fever. He looked at me with those ancient eyes and made a sound I understood. Save him, please. The nearest hospital was 40 miles away, in a whites-only town during segregation. I was a 12-year-old black boy with no money, no phone, no car. And I was holding a dying Bigfoot baby that no one would believe existed. My name is Marcus Washington. I'm 71 years old now. Back in 1974, I was just a poor kid living with my grandmother in a rundown shack outside Cascade Locks, Oregon. This is the story of how I saved a life that science said didn't exist, and how that impossible night changed everything I thought I knew about courage, friendship, and what it means to be human. Let me start at the beginning. My grandmother, Bessie Washington, had moved us to Oregon in 1968 after my parents died in a car accident in Alabama. She was a midwife, had delivered over 300 babies in her lifetime, black and white, though the white folks only called her when their regular doctors wouldn't come. We lived in a shack on 5 acres at the very edge of civilization. No electricity, no running water. Just us, the forest, and poverty so deep you could taste it. I was 9 years old in 1971 when I first met the big man. I was in the woods gathering firewood when I saw him. 8 feet tall, covered in reddish-brown hair, face like a man and an ape combined. He was watching me from behind a massive cedar tree. I should have been terrified, but I wasn't. Maybe because I'd spent my whole young life being feared. White folks crossed the street when they saw me coming, clutched their purses, locked their doors. I knew what it felt like to be seen as dangerous just for existing. And when I looked at the big man, I saw the same thing in his eyes. Caution, wariness, fear of being hurt. "Hey," I said softly, "I ain't gonna hurt you." He tilted his head, studied me. Then he did something that changed my life. He stepped out from behind the tree, sat down, and gestured, "Sit, talk." Over the next 3 years, we became friends. He couldn't speak English, and I couldn't make the sounds he made. But we found ways, gestures, drawings in the dirt, shared experiences. He taught me things. Which plants were medicine, how to move silently through the forest, how to read weather in the clouds. I taught him things too, showed him pictures from my school books, shared food from our meager supplies, told him about the human world. I never told anyone, not even Grandma. The big man was mine, my secret friend, my escape from a world that didn't want me. He had a family. I'd seen them from a distance, a female similar size to him. And in 1973, a baby, small, maybe 3 feet tall, covered in lighter brown fur. The baby would play at the edge of clearings while the parents watched. It was beautiful, a family living free in the wilderness. Then came September 1974. That terrible night, the howl woke me at 3 a.m. I knew immediately it was the big man. I'd heard him vocalize before, but never like this. This was pain, desperation. I grabbed my coat and ran outside. Grandma was still asleep. She was 72 and slept heavy. The big man was at the edge of our property, illuminated by moonlight, and he was holding something. As I got closer, I saw it was the baby, wrapped in leaves and moss like a blanket. The baby was barely moving. I could hear its breathing, rapid, shallow, ragged, "What happened?" I asked. The big man made sounds I didn't fully understand, but he showed me. Drew in the dirt with one massive finger. The baby. Then something. Looked like a snake. Then the baby sick. "Snake bite?" I asked. He nodded vigorously. "Yes, snake bite. Baby dying." I looked at the tiny creature in his arms. It was burning up. I could feel the heat radiating off it. Its eyes were closed, its breathing getting worse. This baby was dying. The big man looked at me with an expression I'll never forget, pleading, desperate, trusting. He'd come to me because I was his friend, because he believed I could help, because he had nowhere else to turn. "I don't know how to help," I said, my voice breaking. "I'm just a kid." He pushed the baby toward me, made that sound again. "Save him, please." My mind raced. Snake bite, fever, dying. What did I know? What had Grandma taught me? She was a midwife. She knew medicine. Folk medicine and real medicine both. She'd saved babies before. Could she save this one? "Wait here," I told the big man. I ran back to the shack, shook Grandma awake. Grandma, wake up. I need help." She sat up, confused. "Marcus, what's wrong, baby?" "There's a baby outside. It's dying. Snake bite. Fever. You gotta help." She grabbed her medical bag, a worn leather satchel she'd carried for 40 years, followed me outside in her nightgown, and stopped dead when she saw the big man holding the baby. "Lord have mercy," she whispered. "Grandma, please. He's my friend, and his baby is dying. Can you help?" To her eternal credit, my grandmother didn't scream, didn't run, didn't refuse. She was a midwife, a healer, and there was a dying baby in front of her. "Bring it to the porch where I can see," she said. The big man hesitated, looked at me. I nodded. "It's okay. She helps babies. She's good." He carefully laid the baby on our wooden porch, stepped back, let Grandma approach. She examined the baby in the lamplight, found the bite marks on its leg, 2 puncture wounds, swollen and discolored. "Rattlesnake," she said, "maybe 6, 8 hours ago. Poison's in deep." "Can you help?" I asked. She looked at me, at the baby, at the big man watching from the shadows. "This ain't no regular baby, Marcus." "No, ma'am, but it's still a baby." She was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Get me hot water, clean cloths, and my medicine kit from the cupboard." For the next 2 hours, my grandmother worked. She cleaned the wound, applied poultices made from plants she grew in her garden, plants I'd never questioned, but now understood were medicine. She gave the baby something to drink, a tea made from willow bark and other herbs. She kept the baby cool with wet cloths, monitored its breathing, did everything she'd have done for a human baby. The big man watched from the edge of the porch, never came closer, never interfered, just watched with those intelligent eyes, full of hope and fear. Around 5 a.m., the baby's breathing steadied. The fever started to break. Color began returning to its face. It was going to survive. Grandma sat back, exhausted. "That's all I can do. Rest of it's up to God and this baby's strength." The big man made a sound, low, grateful. He approached slowly. Grandma tensed but didn't move. He gently picked up his baby, cradled it, looked at Grandma, at me, and bowed his head. A gesture of thanks so human, it brought tears to my eyes. Then he turned to leave, but I stopped him. "Wait," he turned back. "The baby needs medicine, real medicine, anti-venom. Otherwise the poison could come back, could still die." The big man made a questioning sound. "Hospital," I said. "Human doctors. They have medicine that can save him for sure." Grandma grabbed my arm. "Marcus, you can't take that baby to a hospital. They'll take it away, study it, lock it up, or worse." "Then the baby dies," I said. "Is that better?" She didn't have an answer. I looked at the big man. "I can try. I can take your baby to the hospital, try to get medicine, but I can't promise they'll help, can't promise they won't take him away." The big man looked at his baby, at me, and made a decision. He handed the baby back to me, trusting me, believing I'd do the right thing. "I'll bring him back," I promised. No matter what. Grandma looked at me. How are you planning to get to the hospital, baby? It's 40 miles. We got no car, no phone to call for help. Mr. Peterson's truck, I said. He's up early for work, leaves at 6. I'll catch him on the road. Mr. Peterson don't like black folks much, Marcus. I know, but his daughter had a baby last year. He's a grandfather. Maybe he'll understand. It was a desperate plan, but it was all I had. I wrapped the baby Bigfoot in a blanket. It looked almost human that way, if you didn't see the face too close. I started walking down the dirt road toward the highway. Grandma called after me, "Marcus Washington, you bring yourself home safe, you hear?" "Yes, ma'am." I reached the highway just as the sun was rising, stood by the road, waited. And at 6:15, I saw Mr. Peterson's pickup coming. I stepped into the road, waved. He slowed down, stopped, rolled down his window. "Boy, what are you doing out here?" "Mr. Peterson, sir, I need a ride to the hospital. Please, it's an emergency." He saw the bundle in my arms. "What's that?" "A baby, sir. It's real sick. Needs a doctor." "That's your baby?" "No, sir, but I promised I'd get help." He looked at me, at the bundle. War happening on his face. He didn't like black folks. Everyone knew it, but he saw a child holding what he thought was a dying baby. "Get in," he said finally. I climbed in the truck, held the baby carefully. Mr. Peterson drove fast, didn't ask questions. At one point, the baby shifted, and the blanket slipped a little. Mr. Peterson glanced over, saw the face, saw the hair. His eyes went wide. "Boy, what in God's name is that?" "A baby that needs help, sir." He drove faster. We reached Cascade Memorial Hospital at 7 a.m. Mr. Peterson pulled up to emergency. "Go on," he said. "I'll wait." I ran inside holding the bundle. The nurse at the desk, a white woman in her 50s, looked at me with immediate suspicion. "What do you want?" "I need a doctor. This baby's been snake bit. It's real sick." "Where's the mother?" She couldn't come." "Let me see the baby." I pulled back the blanket slightly. Showed the face. The nurse's eyes widened. She didn't scream, but she backed up. "What is that?" "A baby that needs help." She called for a doctor. Dr. Afios Harrison came out, an older white man who'd been practicing since the 40s. He looked at the baby. His face went pale. "Son, where did you get this?" "The mother asked me to bring it. It's dying. Snake bite. Please help." More doctors came, nurses, everyone staring, whispering. I heard the words, "Not human." "What is it?" "Call the police." "Call the university." Dr. Harrison examined the baby. "Rattlesnake bite. Severe. Needs anti-venom immediately." "Then give it," I said. "Son, this isn't human. I don't know if human medicine will even work, but it might. And if you don't try, it dies for sure." Doctors argued. 18 of them eventually crowded around, debating, discussing. Some wanted to help, some wanted to study it, some wanted to call authorities, none of them doing anything. And the baby was getting worse, breathing shallow, lips turning blue. I'd had enough. I stood up, looked at all those white doctors in their clean coats, and I said the thing I'll remember for the rest of my life. My grandma is a black midwife who white folks only call when their regular doctors won't come. She ain't got your degrees. She ain't got your fancy hospital. But she spent 2 hours last night saving this baby because it needed saving. Not because it was human, because it was a baby. And now y'all standing here with all your medicine and all your learning, and you're too scared or too proud or too whatever to just help. This baby's mama trusted me, a poor black kid who ain't got nothing, trusted me to do what's right. And I'm telling you, begging you, please do what's right. The room went silent. 18 doctors, all staring at a 12-year-old black boy holding an impossible creature. Dr. Harrison broke the silence. "Get me anti-venom. Standard dosage. We'll adjust, if needed." They worked fast then. Administered anti-venom, IV fluids, antibiotics, monitored vitals. The baby stabilized quickly, faster than expected. The medicine worked. Maybe because Bigfoot physiology was closer to human than anyone knew. Maybe because God decides these things. But it worked. By noon, the baby was stable, sleeping peacefully. The doctors wanted to keep it, study it, run tests, call the university, the government, make history. No, I said, I promised I'd bring him back. Son, you can't just... I promised, and I'm keeping my promise. Dr. Harrison looked at me, saw something he respected. Let him go, he told the others. The boy gave his word. They argued. But Dr. Harrison was chief of medicine. What he said went. He wrote down instructions for care, gave me bottles of medicine, antibiotics and pain medication, explained dosages. Bring him back if he gets worse, Dr. Harrison said. I don't care what he is, he's a patient. Mr. Peterson drove me home, didn't say a word the whole way. When he dropped me off, he looked at the baby. He gonna make it? Yes, sir, thanks to you. I didn't do nothing. You drove us, that's something. He nodded, drove away, never spoke about it again. The big man was waiting at the edge of our property. When he saw me with the baby, alive and sleeping, he made a sound I can only describe as a sob. Relief, joy, gratitude. I handed him the medicine, showed him how much to give, how often. He watched carefully, learning, understanding. He took his baby, held it close, looked at me, and touched my head gently with one massive hand. A blessing, a thank you, a bond between species that transcended everything. Then he walked back into the forest. I never saw him again, but sometimes I'd find deer meat at the edge of the property. Gifts, reminders, thanks. That was 49 years ago. I'm 71 now. Dr. Harrison died in 1995. Mr. Peterson passed in 2003. Grandma lived to be 97, died peacefully in 2001. The hospital closed in 2010. Records lost in a flood. The 18 doctors who saw that baby, most are dead now. The few still alive probably think it was a dream, a hallucination, something impossible they imagined. But I know the truth. I held that baby, felt its fever, watched it struggle to breathe, saw it heal. A 12-year-old black boy in 1974 did something unthinkable, not saving a Bigfoot baby, though that was impossible enough. The unthinkable thing was standing in front of 18 white doctors in a segregated hospital during one of the most racist periods in American history, and demanding they do the right thing, demanding they see past species, past fear, past prejudice, and just help. And they did. Because sometimes, when a child speaks truth with enough conviction, even the hardest hearts listen. That baby would be 49 years old now, probably has babies of its own. A whole family living free in the mountains, never knowing how close they came to losing one of their own. I saved a life that science said didn't exist. And 18 doctors who couldn't agree on how to save it stepped aside and let a poor black grandmother's folk medicine and a stubborn kid's promise do what all their education couldn't. The unthinkable isn't saving the impossible. It's believing you can and refusing to give up even when the whole world tells you to. That's what I did in September 1974, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat.